Okay, Algebra 2 fans. Um, in this unit of function, in our functions unit, we're doing transformations. And the transformations you've seen so far are the translations, which are the shifts left or right, or up or down, left or right. And then we've seen reflections. And that's all we're doing in our course. Reflections would be negating the x or negating the y, or negating both. Okay? I know this is a difficult unit because you don't have your graph paper in front of you. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm modifying my directions here. The only thing that we're going to do is make tables. So you don't have to graph anything. All I want you to do is make tables. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some of these together with you to show you how I'm making the tables. Okay, so that your homework will be to the remaining questions. All right, so let's start with question number 1. So here I have this parabola. Okay, some of my pictures are just random dots that I put down on the paper, as you see in number 4. But that's okay. All you got to do is write down the ordered pairs and then apply your information. So we're going to do number 1 together. So let's start with number 1. And the original function is called f of x. So I'm going to do a table over here for f of x. So here's my x, here's the f of x. Okay, trying to squeeze everything in, sorry about that. So my ordered pairs, I have 5 of them, nice big fat dots on the intersecting lines here. So negative 2, 4. Then negative 1, 1, 0, 0. Then 1, 1. And then 2, 4. Okay, now letter A. What does letter A say to do? Letter A says y equals f of x plus 3. Well, what does the plus 3 do to the graph? This is really what you needed to know for the first assignment. Okay, this plus 3 outside the parentheses of this function value is literally saying you're going to add 3 to all the y. So you're moving up 3. So we're going up 3 units. So all of the y values are going to be adding 3. So you see every single one of these y values, all I'm going to do is add 3. And then what does it say to do inside the parentheses? X. Nothing to do. So we leave it alone. So here's my A equation. So here's my X. Here's the Y. Here's the letter A. This is all I want you to do is write down ordered pairs. So are we doing anything to the x's? No. All I'm going to do is just copy these 5 x values down. Negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2. All right, now, what are we doing to all the y values? We're adding 3. So every single one of these y values, all I have to do is add 3. So 4 plus 3 is 7. 1 plus 3. 0 plus 3. 1 plus 3. And then 4 plus 3. We just did letter A. That's all I want you to do. All right, now B. I'll put the B here. Here's my X. Here's my Y. What does the B say to do? Well, it says take the original function f of x minus 4. That's inside the parentheses, and from the other day, what did we learn when you see this inside the parentheses? That's right, this is opposite. Inside the parentheses, you do the opposite sign. So this says x minus 4. Think about it as a root. If this was a factor, we would say the root is a positive 4. So that means we're moving right, RT for right, 4. We're moving right 4 units. So what am I going to do with every single one of these x's? We're going to add 4. So negative 2 plus 4, which is positive 2. Negative 1 plus 4, which is a positive 3. 0 plus 4 is 4. 1 plus 4 is 5. And then 2 plus 4 is 6. And now, what does it say to do to the y's? There's nothing over here. So we do nothing to the y's. So all I have to do is go to my original. I'm sorry, I should have used the original here. I go back to the original. Remember, these are your original x's. I go back to the original, and what do we do with all of these y's? Nothing. So all I have to do is write down 4, 1, 0, 1, 4. Oh, make sure you can see those ones. We just answered number 1 together. Okay. I'm going to do number 3 because of these dots that are not in perfect spots. And you can do these on your own. Okay? All right, so what's my original graph? So f, here's my original values. So what do we have for x's? So here's my x. Here's the y. So what do we have? -2 up a quarter. Over 2 up. All right, so -2 up 1 up. You know what? I'm going to call it 0.25, and then over -1 up 0.5, then over 0 up 1, over 1 up 2, over 1 up 2, over 2 up 4, over 3 up 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So over 3 up 8. All right, now, so here's our ordered pairs. That's I did this one because you guys wouldn't have known the decimal points, so I just did it. All right, so A says f of x minus 3. Again, this is outside the parentheses. What do we do? That's right, minus 3 literally means we're going to take all of the y values and go down 3. So the y's go down 3. Down 3 means subtracting 3. So every single one of these y values, I'm going to subtract 3. What do we do to the x's? Nothing. That's right. So where am I going to squeeze this in? I will squeeze it in right here. So A. So here's my x. Here's the y. And what did I say we're doing to the x's? Nothing. That's right. So I'm just going to rewrite all the x's. -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. Now, what are we doing to all the y's? We're going to subtract 3. So we're moving them down 3. So I got to subtract 3 from 25 cents. So that's a negative 2.75. Subtract 3 from 50 cents. So negative 2.50. Then 1 minus 3 is a -2. 2 minus 3 is a -1. 4 minus 3 is 1. And 8 minus 3 is 5. There. We just did it. That's all you need to do. That's all you're doing this whole sheet. All right, B, x plus 5. What does that mean? That's right, dealing with the x's, and the plus 5, remember, opposite, so that means we have to go left 5. So we're subtracting 5 from the x's. Okay? We're subtracting 5 from the x's. This is an x direction. X plus 5 means we go to the left. X minus 4 means we go to the right. All right. I got to squeeze this in somewhere. I'll squeeze it in right here. Look at this. I'll make it fit. So here is my B graph. So the x's. So we're going back to the original. What are we doing to all these x's? We're subtracting 5. So -2 minus 5, -7. Negative 1 minus 5, negative 6. 0 minus 5, negative 5. 1 minus 5 is negative 4. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. And 3 minus 5 is negative 2. So we just took all of the x's and we moved them left 5. So we subtracted 5 from all of the x's. All right, what do we do to all the y's? There's nothing here, so we do nothing. So all I have to do is rewrite these. 0.25, 0.5, 1. Try and get things to line up. 2, 4, that's a 2. 4, and then 8. There. That's all you got to do. So these are your translations. On this side was the translations. Okay. I'll stop right there for a moment. Take a breath. I'll get my other sheet ready. Okay. Getting my other sheet out. This side is the reflection side. Okay. Now, remember, this reflection right here says I negate the function. So in other words, I'm negating the y's. So this negative f of x means I take all of my y's and I negate them. I make them negative. What does this say? I take all of the x's and I make them negative. Okay? I'm taking all here, I'm multiplying. So literally what I'm doing is I'm taking all the x's and I'm going to multiply by a negative 1. Here what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the y values and I'm going to multiply by a negative 1. Okay? What do we do here? That's right. We negate the x's and we negate the y's. Okay? All right. And then we'll do this one together also. We'll do 9. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do 5, 8, and 9. So let's start with 5. So the first thing I want to do is get all my ordered pairs written down. There's a lot of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a lot of them, so I got to get them written down. So my x's. So the original function. Here's my x's. Here's the y's. What do we have? Negative 3, 3. So negative 3, 3. Negative 2, 2. 1, 1, 0, 0. 1. Oop, that was negative 1, 1. 1, 1. So 1, 1, 2, 2. And then 3, 3. So this is the actual absolute value function. All right, now what does this say? What do we do to the x's? There's nothing going on inside the parentheses, so the x's stay the same. So we do nothing to the x's. So here is my equation. So this is the original. And so now here is the y equals negative f of x. So let me get this written down. Here's my x, here's the y. So what do we do to the x's? That's right, we're doing nothing to the x's. So all I'm going to do is rewrite all these x's. Negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2, and 3. Now, what does it say we do to all the y's? We negate. It's negative. So I multiply every single one of these y values by a negative 1. Or you can say divide by negative 1. Same thing. So 3 times negative 1, negative 3. 2 times negative 1, negative 2. 1 times negative 1, negative 1, 0. Then, okay. If we were to graph this, this is a reflection over the x-axis. We reflected over x-axis. Okay? All right, I'm going to do 8 now. So number 8, what does 8 say we do? So we take the original function. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down the ordered pairs. So here's my ordered pairs. There's only 3 of them. So I'm going to write them out right here. So here's my original ordered pairs, x, y. So we have over 2 up 0. Then I have 3, 1. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2. There. So there's my original function. Now what does this say? What are we doing? Well, there's two things going on. There's something outside and there's something inside. Inside, we are negating the x's. We're making all the x's negative. So let's do it right here. Here is our, okay, here's the x, here's the y. So what are we going to do with all the x's? We're going to make them negative. So 2, 3, 6, what happens to them? Well, that's right, we multiply by a -1. So we just change their sign. So -2, -3, -6. Remember, you literally multiplied by -1. -1 times 2, -1 times 3, and -1 times 6. And then over here, what does this say to do? We're negating the function. Remember, the function is your y values. So we're negating all of the y's, okay? Or you can just say you're dividing all the y's by a -1. So we're going to take all of these y values and we're going to negate them. We're going to divide by -1. So 0, -1, -2. We multiplied by -1, we divided by -1, same thing. Okay? Alrighty. All right, let's do number 9. Number 9's unique. Number 9 is unique. Let's straighten this up. All right, so number 9. When we are outside, you see how it says negative f of x plus 3? Well, what happens here is, because the negative is outside the parentheses like this, we have to do your negate your y's first, and then we add 3. So this is the last thing that we do. Okay? This is the first thing. Here's the first thing. And then this is second. Okay? So there's what's going on here is we have a translation and we have a reflection. Okay, so the first thing that we take care of is negating all of the y's, and then what do we do to all the y's? We add 3. Okay, so let me get the ordered pairs written down first. There's 4 of them. So what do I have? A -1, 0. Oops. Then I have a 0, -3, 0, +3. Then we have 2, 0. And then we have 3, 2. All right, x, y. Now, I'm going to do this in 2 steps. So, are we doing anything to the x's? No. So, here is my x, y. So we do nothing to the x's, so I'm just going to rewrite all these x's. -1, 0, 2, 3. All right, now, we have to negate the y first. So we have to take care of this first. Okay? We're outside the parentheses, so it's classic follow order of operations. We do any multiplication and division before we do any adding and subtracting. If we're inside the parentheses, then it's opposite world. Okay? So then we would do the adding and subtracting, then we would do the dividing by -1. All right, so first thing, we're going to multiply all the y's by a -1. So what happens to all these y's? We have to multiply by -1 or divide by -1. So we have a 0, -3, 0, -2. Okay. Now, what do I have to do with all of these? All the y values? That's right. We're going to go up 3 on the y. So now, again, we're not doing anything to the x's. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat here. I'm going to take all these y's and I'm going to change them. I'm going to add 3. 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 So now I just did this. I added 3. There, I just did 9. Okay, I'll let you digest that. Think about that. I got my last sheet to do. Alrighty, you ready? Okay, let's do it. Last one. Alright, this sheet right here is also part of the work that was given on the other day as well. Okay, this is all dealing with reflections, but we're looking at it in terms of the algebra, not in terms of the plotting of points. Okay. So let's see what happens here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do the G, the H, and the J going diagonally. Okay, so first of all, it says write the equation for each transformation and identify as a reflection in the x-axis, the y-axis, or the origin. All right, so first of all, let's talk about an x-axis reflection. If I reflect in the x-axis, so in other words, if I start up top and I flip it over the x, what changes? That's right, the y's change. So an x-axis reflection means we negate the y's. So it's x comma y, and then I keep the x's the same, but I negate the y's. Okay? Y-axis reflection. So y-axis reflection. So if I have a pretty little graph over here, and then I flip it over the y, it ends up over here. So what changes? That's right, the x's change, the y's stay the same. Okay? So if I, okay, so y-axis, I have x comma y. Then the x's change, the y's stay the same. Now, going through the origin, all right, going through the origin, if I have a picture going through the origin, and then what happens is, it ends up over here in the opposite quadrant. Okay, so what happens is we negate the x's and we negate the y's. Okay, so x comma y means we negate the x's and we negate the y's. Okay? Okay, so first of all, what am I negating? The x's. So what's going on here? That's right, it's a y-axis. We're reflecting over the y-axis. So this right here is reflect over y-axis. And this is what you literally write. So g of x is equal to 3, because what am I going to do with all the x's? I'm just going to negate them. That's right. All right. Now we don't leave an answer like this. We just have to clean it up. So negative x squared is positive. 5 times negative x is a minus 5x minus 3. And then we just did a reflection over the y-axis. Okay? All right, now let's look at this one. This one says negate the f of x. So f of x, remember, refers to the y's. So I'm negating the y's. Well, what is that? That's right. That's an x-axis reflection. So this right here is reflect over x-axis. All right, so what does that mean? So what I'm literally going to do is the following. I'm going to put negative h of x. Actually, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to write h of x is equal to negative big giant parentheses. And what are we going to put inside the parentheses? That's right, the f of x. And what is our f of x? Oh, it's this mess right here. It's the 2 absolute value of x minus 3. And literally, we're done. We don't have to do anything else here. I mean, I'm going to clean it up. So we have negative 2 absolute value of x plus 3. All we did was distribute. Okay? And then finally, we're going to do number 13. I'm going to do this one right here. That's right, I negate the f's and I negated the x's. So this is both. I negated everything. So this is reflect over, actually reflect in the origin. Okay, so what I'm literally going to do, just like I did here for the negative f of x, I'm going to put negative, big giant parentheses. And then what are we going to put inside that? Well, here's your equation right here. And what do we have to do with the x? That's right, we have to negate it. So big giant square root 9 minus parentheses negative x close parentheses square. And now I just have to clean this up. There's not much to do. Okay, negative x when you square it's positive, so it's, and then I don't need the parentheses, so I can just put negative big giant square root 9 minus x squared. And then we're done. This is your j of x. Okay? That's it. That's all you're doing. That's your algebra for these. Okay? That's your algebra. Okay. You guys have a good day.